Hello again, everybody. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. Last episode, I was a doofus. Tried to do a live and didn't have the technology. Using some technology today to have a guest with us. Chris is back with us. Chris came on and gave a very informed opinion on why he thought Grandmaster Jay of the NFAC might be an agent. And Chris, before we get started, would you give us a rundown again on your background, your expertise?
Right. I'm a former State Department, DOD, United States government advisor, what we call U.S. advisors. That's where we are the government subject matter experts on, should we say, how to build stability in places where regions or different places have been destabilized by criminals, terrorists, or insurgents.
Okay.
So
Afghanistan.
Right. Well, Afghanistan. I mean, it's pretty much all over the world right now.
True.
Right. And the whole thing about it is we would go in and we would assist our military and the host nation government on, should we say, how to build stability or regain stability back in those regions. So a lot of times doing that, you would create a group from the village, the community, to protect the community from insurgents, terrorists, and criminals, from the recruitment to attacks on the villages. So basically, it's your village security force.
Okay, so it's like a militia. You're subject matter expert in
right. So the thing about it is, that these groups are state actors. They're not non-state actors. State actors are groups that are aligned with the government. So the groups that we created were aligned with the government of Afghanistan, or actually extension of the Afghan National Police, as where these militias out here in the United States, like NFAC, those are non-state actors. Okay, so it can go either way with non-state actors. They can be used to help for stability, or they can create more instability because they're not aligned with the government. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. All right, let's get into it. Let's just for the sake of this conversation, let's make the assumption that you're right, and Grandmaster Jay, John Fitzgerald Johnson, this whole time has been just acting. He's been basically organizing patsies, I guess, if you will. All right. So if all of that's true, what happens? Like Saturday, a huge chunk of NFAC is going to be at one place at one time. Do federal marshals, this white militia group, LMPD, do they all get together and take them all down at once? Grandmaster Jay goes to the side and then disappears into witness protection program. What's the end game? What's the standard operating procedure? If, and we're just assuming, all you viewers, assuming that he is indeed an agent.
Okay. Well, there really is no SOP.
Okay.
But what could happen based upon everything that's happening currently with NFAC, Black Lives Matter, and Antifa all going down to Louisville and other groups as well.
Right.
And then you have, I guess, these other militias, these white militias, going to counter, these groups. I mean, there's going to be a flashpoint, I believe, at some point. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I mean, I don't know what, I can only tell you of what I've seen, especially on NFAC when it comes to training with their weapons, and they're not very proficient with those weapons. And a lot of times those white militias and they practice frequently. Okay.
All right.
And they're a little bit more proficient with the tactics, okay, but then also tactically, with their firearms and with their movements, okay. So maybe they might be able to set up an ambush, okay, for NFAC or whomever, right? And NFAC, because they're not very well versed on tactics, they're not going to know how to handle that ambush, how to get out of it, and just from the formations that they're in, there are a lot of choke points that can be set for NFAC and for whomever. I'm just saying,
Right. Right.
just but these are things that you have to consider when you're planning this out, okay. And then also is the intelligence gathering aspect of it, and just the whole operational planning, the operational planning of it, and then also your intelligence collection about the people on the ground, who your leaders are, how many people they're going to be, where they're staging, and where they're moving to, all comes in, within the intelligence, okay, and also your operational planning. Hey, where are we going to stage? Where are we going if we're going to do a hit on this group? Where's that hit going to be? Okay, and just things like that, where the police aren't. The police might back out and just be like, hey, you know what? Let these people go at it, and let them kill each other.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get involved because there's no sense of those officers or any of those guys getting injured if those two groups want to, get into a firefight.
Okay. So this past week, I've been kind of telling people, look, there's a distinct possibility that poop hits the fan in Louisville, and all of a sudden there's urban guerrilla warfare happening in the streets. Am I being over dramatic, or is that a possibility?
That's more or less a real probability. It's more probable than it is possible. Anything's possible, but I think the probabilities here are actually they're pretty strong. Okay.
You've got a lot of incendiary groups all going to be in the same kettle, so to speak, at one time, and the chance of something not going off is, to me, it's just a matter of when it goes off, where it goes off, and how big the explosion is when it all goes off.
Right, and that's 110% correct. But I want to go back to something that Grandmaster Jay had said some time ago, where he was kind of like poking and prodding at some of these groups, especially one with the Stone Mountain.
Right.
Where you at, calling them out, right? They weren't there at the time for whatever reason, I don't know. And then he was talking about the stuff in Minneapolis. We're gonna come see the police, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna do whatever to the mayor and to his kids, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now these white militias are like, oh, okay, basically come out and say, okay, oh, so this is how you want to be? They're claiming to be patriots. So taking a look at things, you have to pay attention to what's been said. Okay, it's almost like, Grandmaster Jay is poking the bear, or if you want to say, like, the white militias are like a tiger in a cage, and you have a stick and you're running the stick up and down the cage, right? And then eventually that tiger gets out. Now he's getting ready to bite you. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then also all those things that Grandmaster Jay said about killing this group or kidnapping, not one of those videos has been taken down. Okay? Not one of those videos has been taken down. And I told you before, I think on the last episode, we talked about this being an intelligence operation, right? And I think this might be part of their end state to get a white group and blacks, to be fighting, okay, to cause more instability in the country. You see what's going on right now, right?
Yeah.
You have to take a look at the timing of everything that's going on.
Yeah, I've been talking about it. Yeah.
All right. So you can go take a look. You can go back to Charlottesville, Virginia, okay, and Charlottesville, Virginia, even all the way up to tonight, all the things that have been happening, this shooting here, that shooting here, and the media, so they sensationalize all this stuff to get people into their emotions, okay, to where there's like, oh, I'm sick and tired of it, and now it's like I said, it's really coming to a head, and this stuff going on in Louisville, Kentucky, it could be really, really bad,
Well,
So,
one thing that we wanted to touch on the last time, and we ran out of time, was the idea of, I hope I pronounced this right, REHOWA?
yeah, REHOWA. That's racial holy war.
Racial holy war. Talk about that.
Okay. Now, the racial holy war, this is something that was even brought up to me even when I'm 50. So when I was a little kid, all right, we always used to hear about this REHOWA, racial holy war, and how the white people said, yeah, this is what's going to happen. But it's actually to bring back the second coming of Jesus Christ. They're trying to speed it up.
Yeah.
So this might be part of that.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah. This might be part of that. So
I gotta say, Chris, I was hoping that we would do this episode, and when we got to the end of it, I'd be like, man, I feel so stupid about all the things I've been telling people about how pay attention, because this could really get bad, and it could really get bad fast. It could get bad and spread all across the country in virtually one day. And I'm not going to feel that way when we're done, I don't think.
Right. Well, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad.
No, you're an expert on this, and I've been saying the exact same thing, and it's frightening.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that I feel really bad for all those people that and in fact, or anyone that was really supporting in fact, because I mean, Grandmaster Jay he has the gift of gab. I'll give it to him. Okay. And he uses spirituality to bring his people in, okay, where a lot of people have never heard someone speak like that before, and the people were captivated by it, right? But in any group that I've kind of dealt with, the Taliban, Al Qaeda, there's always someone, an imam or cleric, that has the gift of gab to bring the people in, to inspire them to do what needs to be done. And now I'm not saying that Al Qaeda or AQ and in fact, or like, I'm not comparing it to saying like they're both
Right.
organizations.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Using examples is
right.
Right.
I'm just using examples, and I'm sure even with their plan, they always had people to inspire them to go out and do what their will was. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and
if it is indeed Christians, white Christians, primarily white evangelical Christians, pushing this idea of a religious holy war, then you got the president of the United States, and I know the vice president. Anyway, the pieces fit together too nicely.
Right, and like I said, I'm just taking a look at the timing of everything going on right now within our country. These police shootings, and even if the police are justified, if they're not, there's going to be instability.
Because, I get what you're saying.
Right, because the community does not support the police, and the police have not built that trust and rapport within the community. So if the community doesn't support you, like if you do something like these shootings that have occurred, everything just goes out the window because the community doesn't trust you. And because of that, you had some other people with other agendas come in and just, start to destabilize that city or that region. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So now you have this stuff getting ready to happen in Louisville, and this might not be very nice. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. If you were in charge of keeping Louisville safe on Saturday, what what would be the steps that you would take, or that you would advise people to, or advise leadership to take?
As far as see, the thing about it is you can't, if you give someone a permit to hold a demonstration or to protest in your city, I'm not sure if you can, yeah, you can regulate to where they can go and where they can't go. Okay. But the thing about it is you don't want those two to clash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want them to clash.
In the same place at the same time. You want
Right.
to keep them as separate and divided as possible, if possible.
Exactly. But a lot of times that doesn't happen. And Charlottesville was a prime example. Okay.
True.
So just go back and look at Charlottesville and take a look at Louisville, right? And now everyone's got guns. Okay. and you can just imagine. And then you have to also keep in mind that it was the NFAR that one general that Grandmaster Jay.
General Delta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, take in consideration that he still, might be a little bit miffed at, and don't think that people they're not vengeful and want to get back. Okay. So they might come down there, or him and his group might come down there, or just maybe a couple of them. Be dressed like NFAC, and guess what? Might start shooting off some rounds at some people. And and the next thing you know, here comes everyone else shooting at NFAC, and now you're in a big firefight. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And now NFAC, is now labeled a terrorist organization or whatever the government wants to label them. Okay.
Okay.
So that's or even the militias. They could be labeled a white militia could be labeled a terrorist organization, or NFAC can be labeled a terrorist organization. But the bottom line is you're never going to know who started it. I'll tell you right now.
Good point. Do you know anything about this angry Viking and the group he's supposed to be bringing?
I've seen his videos a few times, and what I can't understand is, how is that your concern? What Grandmaster Jay has said.
That was my whole point. You're angry. What are you angry about, dude? You're an angry Viking, and from everything I've seen in your videos, life seems to be pretty good for you. Why you can exercise your Second Amendment rights? Why are you doing it in Louisville on this day if it's not to stir shit?
Right, and that's the thing, that he wants a confrontation. That's what he wants. Okay, so he just wants to. He's mad for whatever reason. And I was watching his videos, and he's saying everything except we want a confrontation with Grandmaster Jay, which it's not what you say, it's what you don't say. To me, that I'm like, okay, well, you said all this, but you didn't say this. But you've been saying all this stuff about NFAC and Grandmaster Jay, but now Grandmaster Jay is in a location, and you want to confront NFAC and Grandmaster Jay. So ultimately, you want to get at Grandmaster Jay and NFAC for all the things that he said. That's basically what I got out of it.
Okay. I was kind of hoping it would be like championship wrestling, angry Viking would come down, angry Viking, and Grandmaster Jay would be like, you have no idea how foolish and stupid you look. And they'd sell a bunch of T-shirts and everybody'd go home. But I'm getting the impression that may not be the case.
No, not with guns. Okay, not with guns.
And not only guns, but you mentioned Charlottesville. They were running over people with cars. I'm anticipating somebody's going to try to do that at some point Saturday as well.
Well, I think the streets are going to be barricaded. The police are going to have, no vehicles are actually going to be on the roads, because of all the demonstrators. So I don't think you have to worry about that. It's more so,
shooting.
Yeah, there's the shootings.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like I said, you have all these people with guns, and people are pissed off. So, and sometimes, a lot of people let their emotions control them. And when you let your emotions control you, that's not very good. So,
Chris, I want to end with this. I gave what I consider my personal citizens rules of engagement in case you are somewhere in Louisville, St. Louis, Kenosha, wherever, and shit hits the fan on Saturday. I said that if you hear anything that sounds like gunfire anywhere near you, hit the ground. Don't run. You become a target. I said, don't be alone. Be with at least one other person, if not in a group. I said, know where your car is and multiple ways to get back to it. And I said, if you are in urban guerrilla warfare, there is no law, there's little logic, and even less love. Stay away. And if you can't stay away, stay aware. Am I missing anything?
just if you know you want to hit the ground, but also find cover. All right.
All right.
You know, find cover like a tree, a big tree, behind a car engine, right?
Good point. And explain why car engine and not just a car door.
Okay, well, a bullet, if you use a 5.56 or 7.62 rounds, those rounds can just go straight through a car. That's easy. But behind the car engine, the engine block, those bullets cannot penetrate the engine block. So, you know, like behind a car engine is actually the best place you want to be, or you know, you find a big tree, or just actually go inside somewhere. If you like a store or whatever, and just, you know, just get out of the street.
Yeah. Okay.
And I get the bottom line, because all the fire is going to happen in the street. And you know, if you really don't need to be out there, you know, it's just a day. It's for a few hours. Just stay inside. You know, it's too easy. Be smart.
Thank you so much for coming on, Chris. I always appreciate it. We'll have you back on next week, and we'll talk about what happened.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Guys, please subscribe. Please share this. This is information that it could save somebody's life. And the last thing any of us want to do is see anybody get killed. Saturday's serious. It's not a video game. It's serious. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Dark world. It's getting darker. Try to be a light. Try to be a freaking beam if you can. And stay alive. Love you all.